You know, we were just having a conversation before this program started in regards to the greatness, how this universe works, how God works. And I was talking with the D.O.C and TK before the program in regards to different journeys in life where simply somebody was at 4 months ago and different inspirations that these individuals have throughout their life, in which brings you up to a certain moment. And the fact that the D.O.C is sitting here with us today in the Battle Scars studio is a story within itself, but we do not have a lot of time. I want to get to the rawness of this story. I want to get right to it. Of course, everybody knows your brother TK. Folks, battlescarspodcast.com. Battlescarspodcast.com. That's where you're going to find all the information for the show, the D.O.C. TK, we got producer Ron Phillips back there in the producer room. But please visit us, battlescarspodcast.com. And this show tonight is going to be a resemblance of exactly what Battle Scars represents. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, to the program, Brother D.O.C. Thank you, brother.
D.O.C, the legend.
Thank you.
Folks, I was telling D.O.C. before we did the show, it was right before I went into treatment. And I was a chronic pill popper from a motorcycle accident. We're talking massive amounts.
What year was this?
This was 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Right around that time. And I don't know how to express to people sometimes the darkness that we went through, because you learn through the years of this addiction. You're not taking these pills sometimes just for the feeling. You're taking these pills because you're trying to escape your own thoughts and memories, you know. And before I went into treatment, I would go out in my vehicle. It was the middle of winter time, and I would go out in my vehicle sometimes for 2 or 3 hours. I was that lost. And you hear music, Snoop, Eminem, Dre. That was the only music at the time that gave me some kind of fight and will to continue through a day. It's hard to explain, but I know people that have been through it know exactly what I'm talking about. Like the way you're looking at me right now. And I just really want to point out, because in multiple industries, I was in the music industry for half my career, and a lot of people get the visual of what they see on stage and album covers, but they don't know the realness and the rawness of what a lot of these artists go through in life. And I really, all of you and your brothers, man, I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because literally I'm here because of your music.
Hey, bro, I
and
appreciate it.
Think of all the lives right now that are sitting here saying, me too.
Yeah, I
so
get it.
Thank you so much, brother.
You're so welcome, bro. I tell people all the time, it's a G.O.D. thing. It's not a D.O.C. thing. So, you know, I can't take credit for that. We give the credit where it's due.
Well, you know, before we even get started, so us being friends for a long time, you confided in me that, you know, you fought God for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then you finally just, okay, God, what do we got, right?
You know what?
And what year was that where you kind of changed course and maybe you and God kind of made amends, I would say, per se? Like,
and see, I don't want to mischaracterize the journey, right? Because I don't think I necessarily fought him. I think I was just so disturbed, so lost that I didn't see him or feel him. It's almost like the poem about footprints.
Right.
You know? And so this whole journey,
you just never realized he was right there with you the whole time.
He was carrying me the whole time. You know what I mean? And so,
same with Rocky. He just went through the same thing a few months ago in refinding the Lord himself. And, you know, like you always said, it's always a G.O.D. You know, every time you text me, you know, TK, I love you, or we'll talk about something, and you'll tell me something good going on and be like, man, I love you, congratulations. And it's always just a G.O.D. thing.
It really is, bro.
You know, brother,
which is exciting.
When you said that you didn't see him or feel him, you said that went through my chest, you know, and my problem was I didn't have anything else to blame. He was the last person I had to blame for all my problems. and so I found myself yelling at the sky quite often until I realized the one day where he forced me into that bathroom, forced me to look in the mirror and realize that the whole time the person that I was actually mad at was the one I was seeing in the reflection.
Always the man in the mirror, baby.
It's always the man in the mirror. And that was a humbling moment for me, brother. And so what was your moment? What was the defining moment to where you looked at yourself in the mirror, into your own eyes, and you said, it's time?
Well, it was 2020. and he came to me through someone and said that you can let that pain go, that it's not yours, that you didn't do those things. I did them for a purpose, and now you're about to walk in that purpose. Mm-hmm. And so it developed in that moment an understanding that it's really not about me at all.
Right.
This is about him and his glory, and,
Right.
and things don't happen to you; they happen for you.
Right.
And you might not be aware of it, but there's a purpose
Right.
for everything. And so all that path that I had to walk was purposeful.
I had a hard time accepting that for a while. I had a hard time accepting the purpose part because I couldn't accept the fact that sometimes through these lessons there was pain. And I didn't like seeing either myself or people I love going through that pain. And sometimes it takes processing to understand that.
Where you usually only change when there's pain.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it. That's a
No
tough
pain,
thing.
no gain,
That's
right?
it. That's
Bam.
it.
No pain, no gain,
Yep.
baby. So let's rewind a little bit. So I would say 99.9% of the listeners already know, but for the 0.1% that doesn't know the D.O.C, Tracy Curry. Okay, let's go back to Tracy Curry days of the late 80s. You're here in Dallas. You're doing your thing.
Yeah.
Before you really became the D.O.C.
Right.
Let's go through that a little bit and kind of just let's kind of just take it from the point where you left high school and go from there.
Well, I was, I'm a Dallas native, born and bred. I was born and raised in West Dallas, in the projects, and we didn't have a whole lot. And when rap came around, I was kind of really good at it, and I wasn't very good at school.
Me neither.
And
Thank God for sports and girls.
and so I gave up on it. And my mother didn't like it. But I told her I wanted to be a rapper. I thought I could really do this. I'm good at it.
Right.
And so I quit going to high school. And she said, well, if you're going to do that, then you're going to go to the Army because you're just not going to be in these streets and you're not
Right.
going to jail and you're not woo-woo. And so I had met a guy named Dr. Rock through a mutual friend who's a DJ in the city.
Mm-hmm.
When Dr. Dre came with this guy named Eazy-E to promote a record called Boys in the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
And they heard me and they were like, man, you are something else, bro. If you were in California, I guarantee you we'd be rich.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know anybody in California.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
But when my mother said you're going to the Army, I kind of rethought that.
Oh, hey, Dr. Dre, I'm on my way.
California's that east or west?
California bound, baby.
Pretty much. And so I called Dre and asked him if that offer still stood. He said, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I bummed a ticket, off a friend, packed one bag with some clothes, a few underwear, some T-shirts, and
all your cowboy jerseys.
I didn't have no cowboy jerseys back then. We was broke.
Well, that's the one question my youngest son, who you met in Denver, was like, because I was telling him you're coming on a show and they love you, and he was like, Dad, did he really wear all them jerseys? Because you watch Straight Outta Compton,
yeah.
They always have you on a Tony D jersey or somebody's jersey, right?
By the time some of that money started coming, that's all I bought.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, that's how I differentiated myself.
That was his question. Like, did he really wear all them jerseys all the time like that? I'm like, well, Bob, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
More than likely, knowing D.O.C. Probably, because you don't see D.O.C. usually without a jersey, especially on game day.
Yep.
That's right, and still do to this
Yeah,
day.
me too.
It's interesting because, I was a promoter out in Spokane, Washington, and I've seen a lot of people, a lot of these artists, they really, it's a tough industry, man. It's tough. And you see probably some of the worst behavior in human beings in this industry, when you started really going hard in it and you started, because fame can be a very good thing, but it can be a very dangerous thing too, How did you adapt to that lifestyle? How did you adapt from 0 to 1,000 overnight?
Or especially at 18, 19 years old?
Yeah.
I mean, you were what, only 18 or 19
That's
you're
right.
out there with Dre,
That's
right?
right.
And they were about same. They were 18, 19, 20-year-old guys too,
Well,
right?
I think Dre is about 5 years older than me.
Okay.
And Eazy maybe a couple years older than him.
Okay, so we have somebody that could buy drinks.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They were buying plenty of that. But it was really difficult, man. Like I left at I left when I was 18 that year. I left that year and went to California by year 20, I had done Eazy's record, N.W.A's record, and my record.
Wow.
And my record is about to come out. So you're talking about a good maybe 18 to 20 months of straight work. And the benefits are about to start coming. So now I'm feeling myself.
Yep.
And you're right. You know, when that monkey gets on you and you start feeling like you're somebody. But when the whole thing started with a prayer. I prayed on my sister's couch and asked God to let me do this, you know, because this is what I think I can do. If you let me do this, I want to be the best in this business. If you give me that, I promise you that when it happens, I'm going to tell everybody it was you. It wasn't me. And so that was in the back of my mind this whole time. When I took the picture of my album cover, I took the picture in front of a statue of Jesus. And the statue says King of Kings, Lord of Lords on it. I think the kids thought I was talking about myself. They started wearing it in their drink, in their jewelry, in their hair, and, you know, and maybe after a while I started thinking it was me too, you know, and then the accident happens before, you know, right after the record comes out. 2 months later, the accident happens right before I'm going on tour, the week before.
Well, and even getting there, a lot of people don't understand. So, again, you're young, right? You guys are having, like, when we were all young, we're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about having fun.
That's right.
And what a lot of people might know, might not understand, that even though you weren't really making a ton of money in those 2 years, the excess of pretty much anything you wanted was available.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, if you guys want to go to a party, you want to do this, you want to do that, it's always available. And the fact that you guys even kept it together to a certain point, because I know even at that age where I would have been, if it was kind of like you're going here, you can drink. If you want this, you want that, it's available. So, you know, really kind of hats off too for even kind of holding it together, and the good Lord watching over you guys while all that was going on, like He does all of us. And, you know, I tell my kids when they're in college, like, I get it, but you just got to roll it down a little bit. It's college. Bring it back, wind it down. You know, I got to get what you're doing, but just wind it down a little bit, you know, with the drinking, and I get it, right? Yeah. But so with that being said too, so you were like a utility player for the most part, first 2 years. You were helping Dre out. You were helping N.W.A. out. You were on tour with those guys. Yeah. You were, you know, you all were a family. You were brothers.
Yes.
And then your album comes out. And before we get to the accident, let's talk about the accident, because, again, the way it's not really portrayed in the movie, the reality of what happened, it's pretty interesting story of what happened before it actually happened. So let's tell everybody listening kind of what happened that night that you got into your accident and what happened.
Well, the record had just come out. I want to clarify something you said earlier. It slipped my mind. I was trying to hold on to it. During that first 20 months, right? Nobody had money.
Right.
Except for Eazy.
Right.
And so we worked.
Right.
It was all about work.
Right.
And we loved what we did.
Right.
The success and all the other things doesn't happen until after the stuff comes out.
Right.
And it explodes.
Right.
Now all those other things are...
So it's almost payday now.
That's right.
Now we're getting ready to cash in.
And they had already started cashing in. So I know my time is coming. You know, the record is out. I've done a couple videes.
Record shooting up the charts, like almost number one, right? Or was it number one at that point?
It was number 12 at this time. And I'm shooting videos during a weekend for the next 2 videos that are going to be coming out down the road. Right. And, 2 videos over one weekend. It's a lot of time spent. And there's someone around that says, hey, I got something that could help you, you know, stay up and get this, you know.
Stay energized.
And there was that whole thing, and I fell into that hole, and, you know, and it was that was the beginning of the end, because it was 24 hours after that moment that the wreck happened. Wow.
So you were up and drinking.
I'm up in the air drinking that night, and the video ends at about 5 o'clock in the morning. I go back home, but I can't go to sleep, you know. And so I get back up, and then I'm all over the place all day long, and
Cleaning the shower with the toothbrush, just trying to
Still probably having cocktails, hanging out.
I know I'm still in the street. I go home, but then I go back out into the world, just loaded and have fun all day. And then these women call me that night, that evening. They had been at the video shoot. They said, we'd like to, you know, and then
hang out.
So there you go. There's an whole other, and then they introduced a whole nother thing to me in the form of a little pill. And so after I had that little escapade with those people, I don't want to go to sleep where they are. So I'm in Beverly Hills somewhere. I said, well, now I'm tired. Now I want to go home. And just never made it.
Well, coming through Beverly Hills at a high rate of speed, right? And tell them, and let's take it from that point.
Well, I was going through Hollywood, and got stopped, got pulled over by the police, and they saw me and recognized me, and I got out of the car and started being entertaining, you know, and they enjoyed it, you know, and we hung out and kicked it, and they made me sign a ticket and let me go. You know?
And so instead of getting a DUI and going to jail,
and been up for what, 3 days?
A couple of days for sure.
For 24. 24 hours.
So exhausted, and you know now adrenaline's even higher because you just got pulled over, right? So anybody, I don't care if you straight sober get pulled over, your adrenaline starts running. Like, I'm getting ready to get a ticket. I'm just got pulled over. Oh my God, do I got any warrants? Like, even me, I know my record's clean, but even me, I'm starting thinking like, you know, okay, here, let's see what thing. Like, let me be TK entertaining here and see if I get myself out of this ticket, right?
And I'm a funny guy.
He said, don't worry, I'm a funny guy.
So they let Doc go. They let him go. And then as he's driving, you fell asleep. And that was a wrap. And from that point.
There was intervention in the works right there, and it wasn't intervened, and you went on.
See, this, and here is where most people will never get the lesson. All of those things had to take place.
Right.
And couldn't have taken place any other way.
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here with this testimony.
Right.
Man, it takes a lot to get to a point to say that.
You have to get back up off of it and understand it's his journey.
Right.
It's not yours.
Right. You know, the thing about when you can tap into the spiritual side with God on the I am, I tell people all the time, like, let me help you out a little bit. Your destiny was already foreseen and foretold before you even popped out of your mom.
Pretty much.
Like, you have these things you can do, right? You have choices. You can go this way, you can go this way. God's always going to get you back where he wants you. One way or another, he's going to get you, right? So so you have your accident. You actually crush your larynx.
Well, I crushed my, the what they call it, the people that try to help you out after.
The EMTs and stuff.
Those guys, they intubated me, and I was fighting them, and they just dislocated the larynx.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't the actual accident that caused it.
No.
It was the medical on the scene.
Yeah. And like I said, you want to blame, but you can't blame because it's all a process that must happen.
Well, at that point in time, you're blaming.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm blaming at this point, but down the road you look back and go, okay, you know what? Again, I got to look in the mirror.
That's right.
Right, and accept the facts that I made some choices that probably shouldn't have made, and because of those, God put me on a different path than maybe what He already had me on the first time. You know, again, you got all these things like God have you on this path, until he needs to wake you back up, and put you on this path.
This is how I see it, brother. God doesn't have time to wait on you.
Right.
He already knows.
Right.
So the path is already written.
It's
You're
already
the
written.
only one that doesn't know what you're gonna do.
Right.
So whatever screw up you're gonna do, he already knew
He
that.
already knows
Yeah,
it.
that's already in the plan. But at the end of the day, you're gonna end up here because that's where you're intended to go.
Correct.
And it's always for his glory, not yours.
Right.
So when you started getting up into the when, what, who's, and why I did, and what I did, and it's why I am, and I am, that's vanity.
Right. Now, just to rewind just a little bit, I got just for my own personal question. So, you and Suge Knight created Death Row. So you're literally a co-founder of Death Row, correct? Or were you really the founder and then brought Suge in? Like, how did that all happen?
Yeah, bro, you could say that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you pretty much were like, let's do our own deal.
That's right.
Brought Suge in.
That's right.
So you guys were co-founders of Death Row Records,
Well, we were co-founders of a record company that we were calling Nightlife Productions and Funky Enough Records or something like that. But it was just after the wreck, right? And so my mind is spaghetti, right now, and I say I just can't do it. I can't do this without Dre.
And Suge still wasn't really even on the map yet.
No.
Nobody really even knew of Suge. I mean, he was kind of rolling with you a little bit. So you guys ended up creating Death Row, and then got Dr. Dre to come over with you from there, right?
We created the atmosphere necessary for Dre to see it might be better over here if we did our own thing.
Right.
Because everybody's getting abused over here.
Right.
We took that idea and turned it into a situation called Future Shock.
Okay.
Which turned into Death Row.
Okay.
We were all equally yoked into this Future Shock idea. Right. And then by the time it got to be Death Row, it was really close to the album being finished, which you guys know is the Chronic.
The Chronic, right?
And then my name suddenly disappeared
from the ownership.
Everything.
Yeah. So Suge pretty much said,
well, I don't know
stage left.
I don't know who said it. But
somebody took you off. Somebody from your original idea took you off the paperwork.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
And said, we'll still give you an office, hang out, have fun, work with us, do your thing.
Well, I didn't know what else to do.
What else could you really do at that point?
Yeah,
right.
I have to figure it out along the way, and maybe I'll, But that's where the music was, and that's where. And I was really at that point in life really ashamed and didn't want to come home and face it, And so I just stayed in that mess.
Well, and even with your voice, you had told me at one point way back that if you would have took the time off, you probably wouldn't have
that's right
the voice you have now. But because they kind of pushed you back into like get out there and get back on the tour and keep singing and do your thing, because you hadn't give your voice proper rest is where it came.
That's part of it. The innovation is what caused the initial. And you got to see it as you got to see God in it. Just how cold he is.
Right.
The innovation is what caused the initial problem. They wanted me back on the road. I agreed to have surgery to remove scar tissue to expedite the healing process. When they went in, they cut way too much tissue from around that larynx, and so from that point on, it could probably never heal. The only healing is if
the G.O.D.
That's it.
And he's kind of working on that a little bit with you. We'll come back to this. We'll come back to that here in a minute.
Yeah, because I got to tell you this, and we'll say that caveat for the end, that the voice is never really left.
Right.
It's always been here.
Right.
But as far as it coming back by itself after that scar tissue removal, it just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
I want to ask something before we get too far ahead about the shame part. Because I find myself always constantly trying to protect myself from that. This egotistical pride I carry sometimes is dangerous and toxic.
Oh, yeah.
But, we put a lot of us out there, and we talk a lot of crap. I do. It's just because I'm a manifester. I say it because it puts me in a position where I got to do it now, right? But I always find myself making sure that I need to make sure I'm doing what I'm saying because of that shame, because that thing is a tough thing to face. When you were going through that, brother, what was the pivotal point? Because, you kept yourself in a darker world because of that shame. instead of stepping out, figuring it out, processing, and then stepping back in. How did you overcome all that?
I didn't. I stayed in that hole until God pulled me out in 2020.
Well, that's a long time.
Yeah, it was.
It's a long ride, brother.
It's a long ride.
Yep.
And I was telling TK when we were coming up the stairs that I stopped drinking about a couple months ago. I got a birthday now.
I could be more proud. His birthday's coming up in June.
No, I mean this is a different kind of birthday.
Oh yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
And because someone that I know and I respect said that to me, he says that he had stopped and that he had a birthday, and he says if you don't have a birthday, then that says that you're telling yourself you're gonna drink again,
Right.
And so
I love it.
I created that birthday
Good for you,
that
bro.
day because and so it's been a couple months since then, but I know that God for all intents and purposes that was the last step. To let God know he's okay. This guy's ready.
Right.
So whatever these blessings are, get your back straight because here they come.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's all these experiences that even I've had the last year. I've always wondered. Now that I go back and think about it, is this him making sure that I'm staying grounded and humbled?
Of course.
Because global domination, it's a big task. You know what I'm saying, brother? I know we don't have a ton of time, and I just want to make sure we cover your upcoming documentary. So if there's anything I'm missing, brother, just add it in. But I want to make sure that the people really understand the meaning and the depth behind what you're trying to produce here.
Yeah, just let's talk about what you got coming up in the future. You've been working on this documentary. A couple of things. Let's back up. So you came and played in a celebrity game in 2021.
Yes, I struck out, which is one of the low points.
The
of my
first
career.
time. Oh, don't worry. It's only about in front of 9,000
That's right.
people.
That's
It's
right.
only
I did
9,000
get hit
people.
the second time.
You
That's
did
right.
get to hit the second time. You got redemption the second time.
Okay.
You were geared up to play this year, and you got a phone call. You and I had lunch probably about 2 weeks before that, I think, maybe 3 weeks, and you're like, man, I'm kind of waiting on this call from Tribeca. They might show my documentary there. I don't know if they would. And, remember, I was like, who wouldn't show your documentary? Like, bro, you're going to get that phone call.
Right.
Like, I'm telling you, you're getting it.
Yeah.
And it was probably like the next day you called me and like, I'm going to miss the celebrity game because I'm going to be in Tribeca with the film festival. So let's talk about how that worked and kind of what you've been working on and what's coming up with your documentary, because it's phenomenal. I've seen some pieces of it, and from you and from J.A. told me, Jonathan Anderson, like he's still on cloud nine from watching it.
Bro,
and he's like, bro, it's like
great.
life changer.
It's
So I can't wait to see the whole thing. But yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
So first of all, it's all glory. It's God's movie. I'm just the vehicle He chose to tell this story, and the moral of the story is very simple. It all started with this prayer, right? I said it earlier on my sister's couch. I want to be the greatest, and if you let me do that, I'm going to tell everybody. And so at that moment, God already knew we'd be talking right now. This documentary is going to come out so that I could, when it comes out and those lights hit me, what do you think I'm going to say to the people? It was Him.
G-O-D
wasn't
thing.
me.
Right.
And mean it in here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's how powerful God is. He spoke it, and now it will be.
One of those things too is as they happen, things are, again, He's taking things from you because you are sacrificing, right? Like, okay, I don't need alcohol anymore. I don't need
I don't
this
call
anymore.
that a sacrifice.
Well, no, it's not a sacrifice. But, for a lot of people who would go, gosh, I stopped drinking. What? Like for you, you're like, hey, you know what? I'm done with it. It's not really a sacrifice, but you're just like, hey, I'm done with it. But again, like you said, that's God. You're just working through the channels with God on everything, right? And again, it's not sacrificing it. Like, that's a good point. It's just you going, I don't need it.
Because I did it because when the accident happened, I started doing these things, like my brother said, to escape that pain.
Right.
Or to escape a feeling of uncertainty or being uncool or uneasy in a place or a situation,
Right.
or who I am. But now I like who I am.
Right.
I think I'm pretty dope.
I love who you are.
He says, I don't think I am pretty dope. Okay.
Yeah, you're OG dope.
I don't move with fear anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I don't have a need to change who I am for a place.
I love that.
Or anybody.
Yeah, probably the only fear that would be coming up is November 4th. If you're not running crazy and you're at the next celebrity game and you come up to that plate for the next time, probably in front of about 12,000 people.
All right, I'm just going to say.
There'll probably be a little bit of some anxiety.
So
up at
I am
plate.
the in-booth announcer this year, and I'm just, excuse my
Bro,
French,
it
everybody.
was all the beer they was shoving down my throat.
Okay, all right.
That's why I swung and missed.
Well, we always have a good time.
I didn't know that you could only strike out twice in softball.
Well, you only have two. You start with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
So you're thinking you got a third strike coming.
That's what I thought.
And it wasn't that you struck out. It was you saw a pitch come and the guy was like,
All right,
strike,
no. So
you're
we
out.
do have an official conspiracy here. We do have. So he wasn't dialed in because he thought he had another pitch.
Yeah.
I think we should do a redo.
Yeah. Well, the second time he came up, he knew, like, start swinging.
And he hit it.
And that was going back to that, not taking away from the documentary and what we're talking about, but it was such a fun weekend because his birthday was the 10th, and we had Friday night was the party. His mom's birthday is 12th, so Mama Curry was at the game.
Awesome.
And we got the whole crowd to sing happy birthday to her.
Yes.
I mean, we had the best time with her.
It was so touching, bro. The cameras, like, that was a movie moment. That was a moment, and that was a God-given moment for me. To be able to do that for my mom, man.
Yeah,
And
she's such amazing.
You were saying earlier, staying stuck up there in that hole. My mother came up there when I had the wreck. Yep. She begged and pleaded with me and cried at my feet, please come home. And I said, I can't come home, Mom. Yeah. And she came home, and she still worries about her big grown-ass son today. So to be able to do that for my mama.
Oh, it was the best. I mean, it was to me the highlight.
Yeah.
Because and your daughter was there, Puma was there, your boys were there, your family, your wife, family, everybody was there enjoying it. It was such a great week. And I'm telling you, when you don't, like, a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm playing, and then they might not. He was literally like torn between Tribeca and the game, and I was kind of like, Tribeca, like, don't worry about the game. Yep. Like, go enjoy. Like, this is it. Like, this is what you've been working on. It's time to launch it, baby.
Hey, brother, really quick. My parents have not physically seen anything we built down here. They just know that I live in Texas.
Wow.
I love it. They're just. It's hard to tell somebody what you're doing because they don't know how to picture it. When you told me about your mom, I was just like, holy crap, that just went through my chest because I got a hold of TK about 3 weeks ago. I'm like, I need some space. He's like, what do you mean? My mom and dad are going to come down, and they actually want to see the world that we've created, and they want to go to the celebrity game, and they want to go to the Miracle League. And I could not express, just saying goodbye to my parents leaving home goes through my soul, because I've learned the value of what little I got, and they're part of that value. But to be able to have mom and dad come down here, brother, and just to see and to hear the words of happiness that they've seen all the bullshit you've been through and all the nightmares I've given them, dude. You know what I'm saying? The sleepless nights, the amount of times them bailing me out of jail and all that shit. For them to say, you know what, Mom and Dad, I love you and I made it right.
That's right.
I made it right. Look at me now, Mom.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying, brother? So thank you for saying that, man.
God bless you, man.
It just added on to them coming down for the game. So
And they're gonna look. I had so much fun. Verb throws a hell of a party.
yes.
And
we do it right. Well, one more thing I did want to talk about too that's kind of underappreciated with what your music was. And back when rap and hip hop first started, there was a lot of cursing going on. And you were like, I'm not cursing on my records. Mine's going to be radio ready. I'm not cursing on mine. So you didn't curse on your albums, and it still went straight up, right? And I mean, to me, that says so much about you as well. When it could have been easy to curse and do whatever you want to do, kind of go with the flow to go, I love what you're doing, but this is what I'm going to do, and I'm staying right here in my lane. And again, straight to the top.
I like to think of myself as a man of principle. I don't follow anybody else's idea about right, wrong, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm a child of the Most High, and I love everybody. It's once you come to the understanding that it's Him, that it's all Him, then the second commandment becomes easier.
Right.
You love your brother like you love yourself.
Everything you just said is a representation of what you're wearing. It's creating the change, being the change you desire.
Well, that's the final thing I want to hit on. So you got your documentary coming, but then you said, you know what? I want to create change back in the communities. and I want to create a foundation, and I want to do some things that, again, nobody's really done. And that's what you're working on also right now. So tell us a little bit about the foundation and what you're doing with all that.
So the foundation is called Doc Cares. Hey! And it started out as a school for arts, entertainment, technology, so that I could take these lessons that I've learned in this business and interject them into underserved communities in Dallas,
Right.
or Fort Worth, or anywhere, you know. And it's really starting to take on a life of its own. And this, what I thought was could be a nice school, is actually turning out to maybe be a campus, you know, that goes K through 12 with all sort of bells and whistles inside for problems with our young people, mental health issues, or teenage pregnancy, or all the things that are causing real problems, and get in there and strengthen these children one at a time if I have to, in a big circle that all exists under 3 rules: no guns, no violence, no threats of violence. And we use our oneness to create everything we want and just expand that bubble one baby at a time if we have to.
Right. No, it's phenomenal.
You know, I remember I was watching, the little child was in 5th grade, and he had major disabilities, and he was giving a speech in front of the whole school, but when he got up to go up on stage, all the kids scattered away from him like he had the plague.
Wow.
It broke my heart. His grandfather was next to me, and his dad was right next to him, but you know what really got me, brother, was that adults in the audience laughed at that behavior. That little brother gets up on stage, and he talks for 10 minutes about the 3 people in 5 years that were nice to him. That's all he remembered, was that one girl that held the door open in 2nd grade. That was the niceness, right? And I run into this, and I talk about it on this other show that I do during the week. I run into this frustration of society because we're expecting our youth to change, to be different, but yet as adults we're creating toxicity within our societies that is not giving them the tools to be better. So in regards to like your organization and what you're trying to do, that's one of those things where we lead by example. We go do Miracle League because we know those kids need us.
Well, we need those kids.
We need those
kids.
We
love going and seeing those kids.
It makes life change, the perspective. It makes the perception of everything change.
That's the key.
All of a sudden, I go look at these little kids at Miracle League. I'm like, holy shit, my problems aren't nearly as bad as I thought they were when I'm looking at somebody who wished they had the problems I had. You know? When
you look at life differently, your frequency changes. When your frequency changes, the world around you changes. It's all inside you.
Correct.
Everything. You know?
Well, I've been reading a book called Project 369, and it's about the frequencies and manifestation. Jessica got it for me for Christmas. And I think you're supposed to do it in 1 month, and I'm probably going on my 3rd month, but I really take my time with it, you know, and then I'll find something, I'll go over to it, get into a rabbit hole on it, right? So I review it, and I spend some time because it's all about frequencies and vibrations. And I've always been in tune with manifestation and, you know, what you project and what you think. But the number one thing in that book that I've taken away to the most part is, you know, again, God is the I am, right? He's the creator of the creation, right? And if you have God in you, then you have his I am to create your own creation of what you want in life.
That's exactly correct.
And the universe will bring you what you want if you're tuned in to the I am of above, the power from above, right, that flows through you to create yours. And I always tell people, I'm going through right now, I go through it all the time, but when you're going through trials, that's actually a good time to rejoice. Where a lot of us will get down and start being angry or, you know, throwing our little fits because we're kind of spoiled because we've had it so good for so long. That when we start going through trials, we throw our little fits. And the reality is like, hold on, rejoice you're going through this, because on the flip side of this are great blessings.
That's right.
Right? And
That's
a lot
right.
of times it's the devil trying to throw you off path. That's why
exactly
I tell, me and
correct.
Rocky have had this conversation like, dude, don't get too down about that. That's the devil trying to disrupt what God has for you.
That's correct.
He's trying to disrupt you. Just keep focusing forward, keep staying in the fight, keep going forward, right? And so ultimately just, you know, everybody goes through hard times. Like, it is what it is. Yep. It's life. But if we can go, hey, look, even if it's just through the day, and you're in your bed at night and you're lucky enough to have a bed with blankets and covers and a pillow and a house or apartment or just a shelter over your head, and you can wake up the next day, it's like, great, God gave me another day. I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm getting back in the fight today with a positive mindset.
That's right.
Positive energy, and I'm going for it.
I heard somebody say that the other day. If I were to give you, a big bag with $10 billion in cash right now, but you can't wake up in the morning, would you take it?
Yeah, no.
And they went, no.
There's people that'll say yes. You know?
Well, there's a lot of people that, because society has told them play it safe. Get your corporate job. Do this, do that. And I remember when Jessica and I were talking years ago, we first started doing Crate and Verve. She's like, you could go back in the corporate world. And I'm like, I could make a lot of money back in the corporate world. But again, tomorrow's not even promised.
True indeed.
So I could play it safe, but tomorrow I might not even be here.
That's right, bro.
So I'm going all out every single day that God gives me. It's 110% all day long. I'll get my rest. I'm going to wake up, catch my breath, hit Pilates, hit my workout with my trainer, and get back in the fight.
And you look great, by the way.
Thank you, brother.
I'm the one with the boots.
You're looking good, boy.
Okay.
You're looking good. You tell me you gained some weight. I didn't see no weight. You trying to joke on me.
Pilates, I got concerns over that whole Pilates thing every morning. He talks about it. It's a ritual.
I love I'm getting really good at it.
We'll talk about that later.
A little
Intervention
stretch.
time.
So
It's actually a good quality time for me and Mom in the
I
morning.
do want to take a moment to tell these folks about this documentary.
Yes.
Because I think it's important. That it took me all this time to really to put this thing in a place where it could do some good by me, and I can get out there and do some good work. And so there are a couple of people at the table that are really, I think I should have a nice deal in place by the first of the month.
Congratulations.
I know,
That's awesome.
bro.
You've been working on for years. Congratulations.
And so that when that domino falls, it just simply opens up the door that I could do much more things. Because I'm happy about the documentary. I'm happy about
Your foundation.
my foundation. I'm happy about the things I'm going to be able to do in the community. And there's I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to be really hard. You were talking about the voice thing. There's an IA assisted program that can take your voice and make it sound like Donald Trump. It can take your voice and make it sound like Kendrick Lamar.
Make it sound like Elvis. I'm getting back in. I'm grabbing me a mic.
So
Wow.
when I understood this is a new technology that's working and almost indistinguishable, yours from theirs, then that says to me that I could take this voice and give them the old record that they're asking for.
Get my voice back.
So it's always here now. G.O.D. gave it back to me through this program. If I want to make a rap record as D.O.C., that old guy, it's possible now.
That's amazing. It's exciting.
And so that's just on the tip of my brain of being able to jump back into this world and create a whole bunch of new world of art. But I want to establish it as something I can use take these babies with me. So they can see how it's done. They can get paid, and they could be rich before they even get to college.
Right.
And if you want to go do 4 years, go have at it.
Right.
If you want to go into the corporate world, have at it. But I've taught you how to be a young entrepreneur,
Right.
who can get out there with the right intent and knowing that this is about us. And if we have to worry about Dallas-Fort Worth, our cubby hole in this big old world, then let's just make sure that's the best piece of sand on the beach.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's exciting. Well, it's like anything else. You drop that pebble in the lake, and it just starts doing this, right?
Absolutely.
So we dropped the pebble here in Dallas, Fort Worth, and because you got people in Fort Worth already saying, "Hey, too, we're in. We want to help out with this."
Yeah.
So all of Dallas, Fort Worth, there's a lot of people in Dallas, Fort Worth going, "Hey, let's do this thing," right? So the one more thing I just want to tell everybody that you might not know is that the D.O.C. You think, oh, he's D.O.C., he's hardcore. This guy has the biggest heart. He's the biggest softy, really. I mean, and really,
I don't agree to that.
I do. When it comes to his family, he is the best dad. Like, I've been around him when he's talked to Puma. I've been around we were just here when his son FaceTimed him from school, going, "Hey, Dad, talk to my teacher for a minute." Because the D.O.C., after he leaves here, he's going to go talk to the kids at school, and they're all excited. But he really is like so all about family. With his wife, he just adores her, his kids, his mom. I mean, and they all come to the celebrity game, and it's just such a joy and so much fun just to kind of see just the joy they bring you.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's kind of like just when they're around you, you just kind of become like, it's kind of funny. Just, you know, what's the best term? You just almost are in awe.
I love
when they
babies.
when they come around, you're just almost in awe of your children. You know, you're just like so thankful and grateful for them, right? It's so awesome.
Is something like that, is that something how you were raised? Because I know I come from a very strong Italian family oriented, but, you know, through life, there's disconnect. You know, you kind of lose that. Or is it through both? Is it some of the experiences you had that really made you appreciate that the most important, precious thing is right there?
Yeah, if I'm being honest, it's because I didn't have that as a kid.
Right.
And so I don't want my kids to ever have that. So I give them what you know, I talk to my brothers about that all the time. Like, they love to see me with these boys because they know they saw the life I had.
Right. Right. No, it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. What else we got coming up? Anything else that we need to know about coming up? And how can people get you? Well, Rocky, you're going to put all D.O.C's links, all his Instagram, everything.
All
they
the
can find
information is going to be, just go to battlescarspodcast.com. I'm going to have a link, an article, videos, bios, everything and anything. But I am really in tune to what you're doing locally.
Thanks, man.
And I want in 100%, whatever I can do.
He's absolutely one of my favorite people. We talk and text all the time. You know, and just like you and I, you know, sometimes you're frustrated and you just need to talk to somebody where you're like, man, I'm frustrated about this, you know, and your brother's going to, don't worry about it. Right. Like I've gone to him going, man, I'm about at my wit's end. Yeah. And he's always the calm voice, vice versa. You know, he'll text me something, say, hey, listen to this. I'm kind of I'm tired of this. You know, this is happening. Like, stay the course. It's going to be all right. You and I have those conversations all the time. And that's what we should do as brothers. We should, you know, we got to help each other.
That's right.
Right? Man. We got to help carry each other. We got to carry the load for each other to keep each other up running all the time because you're going to have bad days.
Women, I got to show you this. Now, this is just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, we're all trying to swim through a sea of muck. And to find that powerful circle that you have and knowing that anybody within your circle you can reach out to at any given time is a blessing beyond measure.
This is a couple of days ago. I'm you know, doing big business. When you're the low guy, they try to be really hardcore with you, and it's disappointing sometimes.
And they'll try to take advantage.
And so it's one evening I just starts giving Snoop all my business. The machine is trying to lock me out, dog.
Yep.
It's so much stress, blah, 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 blah. At the end of all that ranting, he says, love you, stay strong, Doc. God's in control. See, this is how we do it.
And even Snoop Dogg, you and I went and saw Snoop Dogg on July 4th, 2 years ago, I think. And, of course, you know, we're both our wives are like, you better be home by fireworks. Like when it gets dark, you better already be in this house, right? So we're both like, we got to get on. But Snoop, something else that you've done, because when you were kind of behind the scenes, you were still helping all these young artists come up.
Oh, yeah.
And Snoop has the utmost respect for you, like a big brother, just like he does with Dre. Like you two are like big brothers that really carried him. And a lot of people don't know that. Like this and like that and like this, you came up with that for Snoop, and different things like that, helping these young artists. Like, why don't you try this, try that, do this, do that. That's right, with their music coming up. And so when you throw the word legend, you know, it gets kind of thrown out there quite a bit. People have no idea the legend that the D.O.C. really is behind the scenes and the young artists, and you know the history of that. Like when you think about just that time in history, that you were front and center, you were right up on the front lines with all of it. Like to me, it's just like knowing Tupac. You know, everything going on, just being in the studios with those guys and watching them as young artists coming up and being in there with Dre, and the things that you and Dre have, you know, again had this relationship even for 40 years now. I mean, you guys have been friends.
Watching Magic. Being able to watch you and your brothers do your magic in the studio, that would be one of those experiences that you just go grab that little chair in the corner, have your little supply with you, don't move and experience it, man, because that's real life, man, being put down.
Well, there's a picture of him and Snoop on
I saw that.
D.O.C.'s timeline, and their heads are down. right? And Jessica looked at it and she's like, "Are they praying or what do you think they're doing?" I'm like, "They're listening. They're listening. They don't need to see. They're down here because they don't want their eyes to affect the senses of their ears." And she said, she goes, "I thought they were praying. Well, babe, they could have been praying too. I don't know. If they're praying, the other people in the background aren't praying. So at least Snoop and Doc is praying. But I think what the picture is that they are listening to what is coming through so they can help. But it's pretty impactful picture, actually.
I want to say this for us in our space, in our backyard here in Dallas and Fort Worth. That moment in time that existed out there on the West Coast when we were doing all of that stuff, that moment in time is here.
Right.
We're about to walk into the thing that you just described. Being able to do that, those days are right here. It's about to happen for us.
Yeah.
And so what you just said, you may very well be doing in the next 6 to 8 months.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I always tell Rocky, one thing I know about God, he didn't bring me this far to fail.
That's right.
So, and really, when you think about it, and I did this on a 1 minute moto, I don't know, this week, I think, because people call me all the time. They're like, TK, you're around a lot of people, successful people. Like, what's their secret? And it's like, it's real easy. They just kept every day getting up and staying in the fight. They didn't throw in the towel. They didn't give up on their dreams. They didn't go, well, you know what? It might not work out. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the corporate, or this didn't work out. I'm just going to, I'm going to give up on my marriage. I'm going to quit my job. But they stayed in the fight and they made it work.
Yep.
And they just kept, one guy told me, he says, I don't know if I was an idiot or brilliant by just staying in, because everybody was saying you're an idiot. And but they couldn't see his vision of what he could see.
Yep.
Right. Yep. And then now he's a genius because it came to fruition. Right. So when you have people out there trying to tell you that you can't, you're not going to make it, they can't see what you see. Yep. They don't know what's in here. And as long as this in here is still driving, like I said, with the energy, because again, I'm big time into the positive energy, just the energy of you, you're going to get there. So just stay in the fight.
Well, just like you said at the beginning of the show, you're not led by fear.
No.
That's it. Bottom line.
We've already been through hell. Once you've gone through hell, you're like, what? It's easy now. I'm just going to get on God's coattails and we're going to ride it and we're going to take care of it.
When is the documentary supposed to be coming out?
This summer.
This summer? Okay. And we'll keep everybody posted.
And we're going to do a big showing
premiere.
here, big premiere here, and premiere.
Yeah,
thank you here at DFW. Okay, good.
Absolutely.
I didn't know if that was for sure or not,
AT&T Stadium.
Dude, that would be fantastic, man.
Man, that would be a little bit more than fantastic.
That's where they did the premiere for 13 Hours. Jessica and I went to the premiere of 13 Hours and was lucky enough to be invited VIP, and they had the whole premiere on the screen at AT&T Stadium.
See,
so why couldn't we do AT&T Stadium?
Holy moly.
Right?
Your mouth to God's
I think we can.
I'll announce it for you.
Why can't
Ladies and gentlemen, the D.O.C. Come on.
They had a big red carpet down there on the field, and it was filming so all the fans could see it, and the whole 9 yards is really cool.
So I know we're running out of time, and you got to get to the school. Two things really quick. Back in the days, I just had a flashback. Whenever I'll put on the music, I always sat different in my car. I'll be driving regular, and then all of a sudden you put on some old school, and then all of a sudden you just sit.
Yeah, I got a lane with it. Yeah.
And then you drive by old ladies and you're like, yo, how you doing?
Yeah.
Everything changes in your reality. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Or you roll that window down a little bit. I had Cube on earlier today.
Yeah, you did.
And it's kind of like, let make sure this neighborhood listens a little bit on my way out.
That's right.
You got to love it.
I've never done this before, and I'm going to ask a favor of you.
Sure.
Because of how everything happened, I told you about my experience before I went into treatment, the music, battle scars, all this. And now I'm sent with the D.O.C. Can you take this show out in prayer?
Absolutely.
So,
and after the prayer, stay, because there's a video of Doc going to come up. You'll see the old school D.O.C. coming up.
So ladies and gentlemen, the D.O.C. right here. All the information is going to be on battlescarspodcast.com. D.O.C., brother, man, for you to take your time out and to come in and just show some love for us and all the viewers. I'm so grateful for your time, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Tim Clun, on behalf of D.O.C., and of course, brother Ron Phillips back there in the production room, I am Rocky Stucci, battlescarspodcast.com. From our family to yours, much love, much respect. D.O.C. is going to take us out.
Father God, I come to you humbly, asking you to please forgive me for my sins, my wrongs, and my trespasses, my God, any lack of faith. I thank you for these men, my God. I thank you for this podcast and for this opportunity, for this voice that you've given me to reach out and touch anybody. If I can do it in your will and your name, I'm happy to have done it, my God, and I know that there's a blessing behind it. I thank you for everything you've done, my God, and I thank you for everything you're doing. I don't ask you for anything other than to take care of my family and my friends, and please keep me in your heart and keep me in your mind and keep your spirit in mind. Thank you so much for everything, my God, and in your holy name I give you thanks and praise. Amen. Amen.
Amen, baby.
Amen.